Every day she'd wake up and realize someone had called today to tell her mother had passed away. And her mother died every day for like 3 years.
The tragedy seems unending for Jay Leno, as shocking new updates have left fans stunned. Just when it seemed he might catch a break, troubling news about his wife and his own health has surfaced.
I wish I could take her out and go out to eat and do things like that. But you can't really. We'll get some help and we'll take her out the car and we'll drive around and look at stuff. And she likes that. And when she looks at me and smiles and says she loves me, I melt.
What did Jay reveal when he finally spoke out? And just how serious is the situation he's facing? Join us as we uncover the shocking reason behind why Jay Leno is finally breaking his silence. Intense personal battles. Jay Leno has spent decades in the public eye, but away from the stage lights, the comedian has been through a series of personal and medical challenges. Over the years, he has dealt with a number of deadly incidents. However, none of these setbacks have ever slowed him down until now. Interestingly, the most demanding chapter of his life emerged not from his own health battles, but from the steady decline of the person he has been devoted to for nearly half a century: his wife, Mavis Leno. In January 2024, Jay filed a petition for conservatorship over Mavis's estate, revealing publicly what had been unfolding privately for years. Mavis had been diagnosed with advanced dementia. A neurologist's report submitted to the court described a pattern of disorientation so severe that she sometimes does not remember her birth date or her husband. The conservatorship was granted in April 2024, with Mavis's full agreement. Her attorney told the court she felt safe, supported, and well cared for, a sentiment she repeated during the hearing. Weeks later, the couple appeared together at the premiere of Jerry Seinfeld's new film, a public moment that contrasted with the difficulty they were both experiencing behind closed doors. Betraying the facade they had once put out, Jay eventually revealed about the hardest aspect of Mavis's condition: her mind's repeated return to a painful memory. He revealed that for years, Mavis would wake each morning believing she had just learned of her mother's death, although her mother had passed nearly 2 decades earlier. Each day, the news landed as if it were new. Watching her relive the same loss again and again was one of the most challenging parts of her illness. Yet he approaches each moment with calmness. Despite the progression of her dementia, Jay said she still recognizes him, a detail he holds on to with appreciation. He describes her current state as peaceful, comfortable, content, and settled. Caring for her has become a central part of his daily routine, something he embraces rather than resents. He also revealed that their everyday life in many ways hasn't changed as drastically as outsiders might assume. Long before her diagnosis, he would finish an evening on The Tonight Show, go home, cook dinner, and sit with her in front of the television. The only difference now is that he just couldn't really talk about a lot of things. Before her illness, Mavis was always drawn to the world outside their home. A committed activist and philanthropist, she spent years focused on global women's rights and was even nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize in 2002 for her work supporting women in Afghanistan under the Taliban. Knowing how much she loved to travel, Jay now brings the world to her. The couple now spend time watching travel channels, nature documentaries, and online videos that allow her to experience landscapes and cultures she can no longer physically visit. He admits it is bittersweet. He misses the version of her who explored boldly, but he also sees her smile and takes comfort in it. Although her memory falters, she remains trusting of her husband and relies on him for clarity and direction. The neurologist overseeing her care reported that Jay treats her like gold, a sentiment that has been shared by everyone involved in the case. He did not seek control over her personal decisions, only her estate, an action her medical team and legal representatives agreed was necessary for both their futures. But while Jay remained steady for his wife, life hasn't always shown him the same kindness, raising a bigger question. How does he pick himself up every time? A long list of misfortune. Jay Leno's long list of injuries reads like the record of someone determined to keep moving no matter what life throws at him. One of his most dramatic incidents came in late 2024, when he tumbled down a steep hill, an accident that would have sidelined most people for months. Instead, Leno laughed through the details during an interview with Inside Edition, appearing with a bruised face and an eye patch that made the experience look even harsher than he described. The fall happened unexpectedly while he was on his way to dinner. As he made his way along the path, he slipped near the edge and rolled roughly 60 feet down the hillside, hitting what he later called a bunch of rocks on the way down. The impact left him with a broken wrist and deep bruising across his face, including the injury to his eye. The eye patch was the result of slamming into a rock head first during the fall. Yet even with those injuries, he treated the experience with a matter-of-fact shrug. Only a year before the hill accident, Jay had endured another serious incident, this one involving a vintage motorcycle. In January 2023, he revealed that he had broken his collarbone, fractured 2 ribs, and cracked both kneecaps in a crash involving his 1940 Indian motorcycle. During an interview with NBC News, he explained that he had been riding when he detected the smell of leaking gas. He attempted to pull over into an empty parking lot to investigate, but as he turned, he struck a nearly invisible wire stretched between 2 poles. "Boom," he said. "It clotheslined me, hit me in the neck, and threw me off the bike." The motorcycle kept going as he hit the pavement, leaving him on the ground with a cluster of painful injuries. According to his spokesman, Jay underwent shoulder surgery and dealt with lingering problems in his knees, but otherwise recovered well. He spoke casually about the incident in another interview, this time with the Las Vegas Review-Journal, acknowledging that he tried to stay out of the spotlight afterward. Jay's history of accidents forms a contrast with his otherwise controlled, disciplined lifestyle. He is known for avoiding alcohol and tobacco, maintaining a precise work ethic, and nurturing a long-running passion for cars and motorcycles. Yet his enthusiasm for vintage vehicles and hands-on mechanics often places him in unpredictable situations. How did his love for vintage vehicles place him in yet another uncomfortable position? And how did he survive that? A flame he walked through. Jay Leno has always been known for his love of cars, but behind the jokes are some truly intense experiences that tested his strength more than most people realize. One of the most frightening moments was in 2022 when his passion for vintage cars turned into a near-disastrous fire. It happened inside his garage while he was working on a rare 1907 white steam car. The fuel line was clogged, so Jay slid underneath the car to inspect it. He asked his friend Dave Kilacki, who was standing above, to blow air through the line. As soon as Kilacki did, the line made a strange noise, and suddenly Jay's face was blasted with gasoline. In a split second, the car's pilot light leapt forward, and his entire face caught on fire. Kilacki immediately helped smother the flames, and Jay rushed to pour cold water on his face. Despite the severity of the burns, and even though emergency doctors insisted he go to the hospital, Jay chose to go home first, worried about how frightened his wife might be. It wasn't long before he went to the Grossman Burn Center in Los Angeles, where specialists quickly admitted him. For 9 days, the comedian stayed in the burn center, receiving treatment for third-degree burns on about 7% of his body. He spent 8 hours a day inside a hyperbaric chamber, a pressurized environment that pumps oxygen into the body to speed up healing. Even through the pain, Jay still cracked jokes, telling Today that he wasn't too worried about his appearance. But not everyone believed the story of his incidents. In fact, Jay's run of strange accidents caused many people online to start spreading wild ideas. Some fans began to think something darker was happening behind the scenes. These rumors grew louder when Jay appeared on Bill Maher's Club Random podcast. Maher brought up the talk, saying that many people had created a story that connected Jay's accidents to secret trouble, even though there was no real proof. Jay, who is known for joking about himself, listened as Maher explained the rumor. The gossip claimed that after 3 different accidents, people believed Jay had gotten mixed up with dangerous groups, and that these groups were hurting him to force him to pay off imaginary debts. Maher pointed out that this idea had become a small online conspiracy, even though it made no sense. Jay laughed at the suggestion and answered with light sarcasm. He imagined how strange it would be for dangerous criminals to travel all the way to a small town in Pennsylvania, wait outside a hotel on a cold and rainy day, and push him down a hill. He made it clear that the rumors sounded silly to him. Maher then expanded the joke by saying that, according to this strange online story, pushing him down the hill was only a cover so people would not suspect the real reason. He also brought up another accident that happened between Jay's gas fire incident and the hill fall. During that accident, Jay fell off his motorcycle. Because of that, Maher added a playful wink-wink, which suggested that even that fall had been included in the rumor. Jay then explained what really happened. He said he had been riding his motorcycle when he hit a rope stretched across a driveway. The rope cut his skin, adding to the injuries he already had. Earlier, during the gas fire accident, his face had been burned and he needed medical treatment. Just 2 months later, the motorcycle accident tore his skin again, and he joked that he had to call his doctor for another round of facial repairs. He also used this moment to address the rumors in a more serious way. Jay, who is known for having a very large collection of classic cars and is reported to have a huge net worth, wondered why anyone would believe such a dramatic story. If he really owed money to dangerous people, he pointed out that they would not attack him in complicated ways. They would more likely take one of his many cars to settle any imaginary debt. Despite the attention and the online noise, Jay dismissed every part of the rumor and made it clear that nothing mysterious was happening in his life. But this wasn't Jay's only major health moment in recent years. This one, however, did not come with public suggestions. Back in 2019, he used his platform to talk about another serious condition: high cholesterol. As a spokesperson in a nationwide campaign, he explained that he personally lives with high cholesterol, the kind that can block arteries and trigger heart attacks or strokes. He reminded viewers that even healthy-looking people can be at risk. When asked whether he changed his diet, he admitted only somewhat, pointing out that cholesterol doesn't always show clear symptoms, and sometimes it really is the luck of the draw. Jay has also been open about challenges that started long before adulthood. In 2017, he appeared in a video for the Child Mind Institute, where he discussed growing up with dyslexia. Back then, he said, the condition wasn't understood at all. His childhood treatment was adults slapping him on the face and telling him to smarten up. But his mother gave him the advice that shaped his life. He would simply have to work twice as hard as everyone else. And he did. Jay said dyslexia actually helped him learn how to focus like a laser beam, turning a disadvantage into a strength. Across fires, accidents, health scares, and even childhood challenges, Jay Leno keeps going, keeps joking, and keeps doing what he loves. Interestingly, his personal struggles may sound intense, but he seems to have a penchant for stepping into controversy without even trying. What are some of the interesting controversies that he has found himself in over the years? A lifetime of feuds and controversies. Jay's career unfolded like an unpredictable arc, one that was built on restless ambition and a surprising turn in stage politics. His rise transformed modern late-night television. His choices stirred some of entertainment's fiercest rivalries, and his personal life revealed a world far removed from the spotlight. Together, these elements formed a legacy that most people found to be both influential and complicated. Jay's path into national fame began long before his eventual claim to The Tonight Show desk. In 1977, he stepped onto the same stage he would later inherit, delivering a stand-up set that introduced him to a nationwide audience. That appearance launched a steady climb through America's comedy clubs, where his timing and steady touring rhythm made him a familiar face long before he became a television fixture. By 1986, he had already established himself as Johnny Carson's permanent guest host, filling in with a dependable style that appealed to NBC executives. He also appeared regularly on Late Night with David Letterman, which immediately followed The Tonight Show, positioning him at the center of NBC's late-night ecosystem for years. Offstage, Jay's life took a more grounded direction. In 1976, he met Mavis Nicholson, the woman who would become his wife in 1980 and remain his closest partner through every career twist. Unlike Leno, Nicholson built a life far away from Hollywood's bright glare. Her work as a human rights activist became the defining force of her public presence, especially in the 1990s when she served as chairperson for the Feminist Majority Foundation's campaign to end gender apartheid in Afghanistan. The effort earned the organization a Nobel Peace Prize nomination. Nicholson, who often spoke plainly and powerfully about her mission, once summarized her philosophy as the eradication of poverty, abuse, and injustice, the conditions she believed fueled violent extremism. Leno often credited the strength of their marriage to shared priorities and simple routines. He insisted on flying home immediately after every comedy performance, no matter the distance, and brought Nicholson along whenever a trip offered a chance to experience something new together. He openly admired her intellect and activism, joking that nothing pleased him more than watching people underestimate her, only to realize how informed and capable she truly was. In his view, supporting her work was the natural progression of their partnership. "It's a matter of priorities," he said. "It makes the marriage better." Long before he navigated corporate battles at NBC, Jay found himself in the middle of a very different dispute. In 1979, the Comedy Store in Hollywood became the center of a heated strike when owner Mitzi Shore refused to pay comedians for their performances, arguing the stage time alone offered valuable exposure. Jay joined the picket line alongside performers such as David Letterman, pushing for fair compensation. Letterman later recalled Jay's restless energy during union meetings, bouncing between jokes and agitation as comics debated their next move. Jay's involvement escalated dramatically when he was struck by a driver attempting to break the picket line. Though the injury was minor, he reportedly amplified its severity to strengthen the striker's position. The dispute ended with comics finally receiving a $25 per set wage, and the episode permanently shifted Shore's relationship with the performers she had once championed. The Comedy Store conflict was only a prelude to the larger storm that followed years later when NBC chose Carson's successor. Though Letterman had long been viewed as the natural heir to The Tonight Show, the network selected Jay, igniting a rivalry that reshaped late-night television. After Carson formally announced his retirement, Letterman departed NBC and launched The Late Show on CBS, airing directly opposite Jay in a ratings battle that lasted for decades. Carson himself quietly signaled his preference by sending jokes to Letterman's writing staff, even after stepping away from the camera. Jay took the reins of The Tonight Show on May 25, 1992, stepping onto the stage to loud applause before quipping, "Let's see how you all feel in 30 years." The remark captured the tension surrounding the moment. Optimistic but wary, aware of both the legacy he was inheriting and the controversy trailing behind him. But after the decades of rivalry, was this just the beginning of the bigger controversies surrounding Jay Leno? Biggest world controversy. The world of late-night television has never been without drama, and Jay Leno's career sits at the center of some of its most notorious controversies. His years on The Tonight Show were marked by feuds and tense interviews that captured public attention, shaping the trajectory of modern talk shows. One of the most enduring stories in late-night history is Jay's rivalry with David Letterman. Though decades have passed since the height of their competition, the media continues to spotlight it. In 2022, Letterman reflected on the frenzy surrounding their history, calling it embarrassing. Speaking to Neil Brennan, he insisted, "I don't want to be the guy who's pissed off because I didn't get so-and-so. I didn't truly feel that way. Nobody ever came to me and said, 'We would like you to host The Tonight Show.' So, okay, they didn't want me to host The Tonight Show. I can live with that." Jay, meanwhile, indicated in 2025 that reconciliation was possible. On In Depth with Graham Bensinger, he said, "I would like to do that. I think I have no problem with it. I think Dave might be awkward." While decades of rivalry and public speculation have shadowed their interactions, both men appeared to acknowledge the potential for closure. During the mid-1990s, Jay solidified The Tonight Show's ratings dominance over Letterman's Late Show. Part of his strategy was exploiting pop culture events as material for nightly monologues, turning news stories into comedic fodder that resonated with audiences. A defining moment came on July 10, 1995, when Jay interviewed Hugh Grant, recently arrested for lewd conduct in Los Angeles. Jay wasted no time with niceties, asking bluntly, "What the hell were you thinking?" The studio audience erupted in laughter and applause, creating an electrifying atmosphere. Grant responded candidly, admitting, "In life, there's what's a good thing to do and what's a bad thing, and I did a bad thing. And there you have it." The interview became legendary, helping Jay secure his first nightly ratings victory over Letterman and maintaining his lead for the next 14 years. Jay's public conflicts extended beyond competitors to fellow entertainers. Shock jock Howard Stern, a frequent guest in the mid-1990s, became a critic after Jay hired Stern's radio employee, John Melendez, as The Tonight Show's new announcer. Stern's ire culminated in repeated on-air attacks, accusing Jay of stealing material to strengthen his show. The feud persisted into 2013 when Stern took his criticism to Letterman's stage, declaring, "Jay Leno will forever blow my mind. He took The Tonight Show from you. You were close to getting it. You had such a dream, and Jay snatched it from you." Despite the public intensity, Jay largely avoided escalating the feud. On Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. In 2019, he explained his strategy. "I didn't get into the feud because you're not going to win a feud with Howard. Howard is good. If you start that feud, boom, you're down. So if you just let it roll, it's fine. I don't hold any grudges. I listen to him now. He's funny. He's good." Jay's approach reflected a mix of pragmatism, choosing not to fight every battle while still commanding respect in the industry. The combination of high-profile interviews, rating strategies, and selective engagement in conflicts helped define Jay's unique position in television. He was able to maintain The Tonight Show's dominance not merely through comedy, but by skillfully navigating the personalities and controversies surrounding him. Moments like the Hugh Grant interview or the Stern dispute were less about personal animosity than about the delicate balance of public perception, entertainment value, and professional strategy. Through it all, Jay demonstrated an enduring ability to adapt. Ultimately, his legacy is inseparable from the late-night battles that defined his era. But after everything he had already survived, what unexpected twist would pull him back into one of the most chaotic chapters of his career? Jay Leno's tumultuous return. As we've emphasized, Jay Leno's career has been defined not only by comedy and ratings victories, but also by public controversies, high-profile feuds, and unexpected personal challenges. Perhaps no period in his career illustrates this combination more than his first exit from The Tonight Show, the subsequent primetime experiment, and his eventual return. In 2004, NBC sought to settle its late-night succession drama by signing Conan O'Brien to a 5-year contract guaranteeing he would take over The Tonight Show in 2009. Yet, the network was reluctant to part with Jay, a ratings powerhouse. To navigate this dilemma, NBC created The Jay Leno Show, a primetime variety series airing 5 nights a week at 10 p.m. ET. The show borrowed familiar elements from Jay's Tonight Show tenure. His monologue, celebrity interviews, and comedy staples like headlines and jaywalking. But NBC added new segments to differentiate it, including the Green Car Challenge, where celebrities raced electric Ford Focuses, and 10 at 10, featuring rapid-fire questions with celebrity guests. Jay's sign-off from The Tonight Show on May 29, 2009, was notable for its warmth. He introduced his wife, Mavis Nicholson, to the studio audience, receiving a standing ovation, and praised O'Brien as a terrific guy and a good friend. Despite the gracious farewell, the transition quickly spiraled into one of the most talked-about conflicts in late-night history. Ratings for The Jay Leno Show initially held steady but soon declined, prompting NBC to shift it to 11:35 p.m. ET in January 2010, which in turn pushed O'Brien's Tonight Show to 12:05 a.m. ET. O'Brien refused to participate in what he termed the destruction of The Tonight Show. In a press statement, he emphasized the historic time slot's importance, asserting that moving the show into the next day would seriously damage what I consider to be the greatest franchise in the history of broadcasting. Negotiations culminated in O'Brien's departure, NBC's cancellation of Jay's primetime show, and Jay's return as host of The Tonight Show on March 1, 2010. The fallout from this shuffle extended into the broader comedy community. Jimmy Kimmel, host of Jimmy Kimmel Live, frequently lampooned Jay during this period, even appearing on Jay's show to deliver pointed jokes in a 10 at 10 segment. Reflecting on the incident in 2025, Jay admitted it was one of his career's largest missteps. "When Kimmel came on my show and humiliated me on my own show, I let it happen," he said. "I didn't edit it. I trusted somebody. That's how you learn." Jay's second tenure on The Tonight Show lasted 4 years, ending on February 6, 2014, when he handed the reins to Jimmy Fallon. His final episode featured a star-studded lineup, including President Barack Obama, Billy Crystal, Kim Kardashian, and Jim Parsons. Crystal, Jay's first guest back in 1992, led the guests in a musical farewell, performing "So Long Farewell" from The Sound of Music. Jay thanked viewers sincerely, acknowledging the show's 22-year significance in his life. "We wouldn't be on the air without you. This has been the greatest 22 years of my life. I am the luckiest guy in the world." After leaving the desk for good, Jay channeled his energy into Jay Leno's Garage on CNBC and live stand-up comedy. His dedication to performance was evident even after he fell down a 60 to 70-foot hill en route to a comedy show in Highland, California. Despite hitting his head and injuring his eye, he refused to cancel the performance, downplaying the injury. "It's not that big of a deal. It's all right." Amid professional triumphs and trials, Jay also faced profound personal responsibilities and has had to make serious decisions for his family. What are some of decisions he had to make single-handedly? Jay Leno updates estate and plans for legacy. Amid wife's illness, Jay recently made significant updates to his estate plans, reflecting both his commitment to family and his long-term vision for his vast car collection. The adjustments were prompted by concerns over the sufficiency of his original trust, as well as his responsibilities as conservator for his wife, Mavis Nicholson, following her Alzheimer's diagnosis. Married for more than 4 decades, the couple has no children, placing a particular emphasis on extended family and charitable intentions in Jay's estate planning. Previously, Jay had allocated $3 million to 2 relatives, his wife's brother, Ricky Nicholson, who lives next door to the couple, and his nephew, Richard Leno. However, a court official reviewing the initial trust raised concerns that this amount might be insufficient. The official had worked closely with Jay during the conservatorship petition and noted conversations regarding the trust and will he had established. Recognizing the need for greater provision, Jay increased the inheritance to $7 million, ensuring that both Ricky and Richard would receive a more substantial share. The amended 41-page trust received formal approval from the court, with the official confirming the adjustments served the best interest of Mavis Nicholson. The court filing emphasized that Jay's actions were both reasonable and necessary to safeguard his and his wife's financial and personal welfare. No one lives forever, and the actions taken by Mr. Leno are reasonable and necessary for his and Mavis's protection. The filing read, "The official also affirmed Nicholson's consent, highlighting that she trusts Jay to act as her protector and to manage their shared estate responsibly." Beyond family allocations, Jay's will lays out clear instructions for the management of his broader estate and charitable legacy. Should he pass away before Nicholson, the majority of his assets, including his extensive automobile and motorcycle collection, would be placed into the Leno Marital Trust and ultimately distributed to the JDM Foundation, a private operating foundation he established in 1988. The will specifies that the foundation would manage his car and motorcycle collection and open a museum dedicated to preserving and showcasing these vehicles. Jay has already appointed the 3 initial directors to oversee the museum, demonstrating careful planning to ensure that the collection remains accessible and maintained for public appreciation. The amended trust reflects a balance between personal commitments and long-term philanthropic goals. Jay's estate plan provides for reasonable support of his surviving spouse, while outlining the eventual transfer of the estate's after-tax balance to the JDM Foundation. By structuring the plan this way, he ensures that both his wife's needs and his broader ambitions for his collections are protected. The trust's irrevocable nature guarantees continuity and clarity for those who will manage it after the couple's lifetimes. Jay's automobile and motorcycle collection has long been a defining feature of his life outside the entertainment world. Over the years, he has accumulated rare and historically significant vehicles ranging from classic American muscle cars to European exotics. The plan to establish a museum through JDM will allow fans and enthusiasts to experience this collection firsthand, ensuring that his passion for vehicles leaves a lasting public legacy. Even amid health challenges and complex estate planning, Jay remains committed to his family and personal values. What does the next chapter for the Lenos look like? Have you ever wondered why they never had children? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.